Welcome, welcome, Washington State's beautiful Black community. We'll get started in a few seconds. Please note that we have 5 language lines, ASL, and captioning available. We're dropping the language line information in the chat as I speak. Please engage with us in the comments section, and you will need a YouTube account to do so. Otherwise, feel free to post comments on our socials, and we'll get started in just a few short minutes. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Andrea Capane Sanderson, one of the architects of the Black Future Co-op Fund and CEO of Bird Bar Place. We're gathered across the state on this Sunday to hear community-identified approaches to our Black well-being, to dream together, and to simply deepen with one another. There will be short clips from 5 different panels on education, health, economic mobility, public safety, and civic engagement. All issues that are so very important and top of mind for our Black Washingtonians. Throughout this session, we will be asking for your feedback through live polls, and at the end, through a survey. Poll results will be shown live on screen so you can see our collective responses. You can access the polls through the links in the chat or QR code on the screen. And keep the comments section alive by letting us know how you're feeling, what you're thinking throughout the afternoon. Please let us hear from you. And in case you missed it, the language line information is in the comments.
Lift every voice and sing. To earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise, high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed? We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading a path through the blood of the slaughtered, out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who has brought us thus far on the way, Thou who has by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we meet Thee. Lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world, we forget Thee. Shadow beneath Thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
Thank you. Emmy winning, y'all, Sharon Nairi Williams, repping for Kent, and Feluso Alameda Mimi, who is repping Linwood, for that moving and inspirational opening that simply sets the tone for this most beautiful gathering. Thank you. One of our core principles of the Black Future Co-op Fund is our commitment to being good ancestors. We model this by acknowledging that the land we're on is the unceded land of the Coast Salish peoples, home to the Duwamish, Squamish, Snoqualmie, Tulalip, Muckleshoot, and Puyallup nations. We also recognize that others on this call may be on different territories and want to acknowledge the importance of all lands and Indigenous people who are active stewards and shapers of communities. We also recognize and acknowledge the labor with which this country was built on the labor of enslaved people who were kidnapped and brought to the US from the continent of Africa. And we recognize the continuous contribution of our ancestors and survivors. We also acknowledge all immigrant labor, including voluntary, involuntary, trafficked, forced, and undocumented people who contributed to the building of this country and continue to serve within our labor force. We also acknowledge the trauma both experienced and witnessed of all Black people and our enduring spirit, as well as our resilience. I now have the honor and pleasure of introducing our guest. Here to ground us in this shared space is Orlin Bishop. Orlin is here to help deepen the tone for today's learning, growing, and dreaming together. Orlin is an advocate, healer, mentor, and teacher. He is the founder and director of Shade Tree Multicultural Foundation in LA, where he has transformed the way truces are made between groups with tension and historical divides, focusing on youth mentorship and gang intervention. Orlin's work is about helping to build capacities for social transformation. Working with educators, businesses, and grassroots groups, he's pioneered a model that promotes sustainable collaborations. Orlin inhabits a rare understanding of how to align social relationships with the regenerative power of source. He combines new ideas with traditional ways of knowledge. He is a mender in many ways and the quintessential space maker. Welcome, Orlin.
Andrea, so grateful. Thank you for that kind introduction. Greetings, beloved. I would like to say Sawubona. Sawubona is a Zulu word that translates "we see you." The response is Yebo Sawubona. Yes, we see you too. The power of this agreement of mutual seeing creates for us a reality centered in our spirit, soul, mind, and body, and eventually on earth, within the earth, as a fundamental truth that our speech in agreement creates. And this word was given to us again in 1998 by the Haisanusi Vizuma Zulu Credo Mutwa. He was the last Sanusi in South Africa and passed away only last year. But his invitation to us was revive this word into culture from the deep, deep memory that we know to be the prophetic seeing. And in our cultural stories, we've always navigated struggle with an innate capacity of trusting the visionary orientation of our consciousness. Even in dark times, our eyes saw futures, and this Black Future Co-op Fund is within the prophetic memory that is now being called into fulfillment through this beloved community. So I am deeply grateful to come to add my own words of blessing to this effort, that Sawubona, this mutual trust of exchanging vision, exchanging consciousness forces, and also participating in the willingness of service to this second side. In 1903, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois wrote the book, The Souls of Black Folks. And in that text, he contextualized the idea of second sight. And it was, at that time, considered to be a vision of how we see ourselves and how others see us. But something is critical in this current age, in that what our sight is not just seeing ourselves and each other, we're seeing the future that our ancestors dreamed of. And now we are the memory becoming real and becoming actualized in the time for this vision to be prophetically alchemized and realized. Our age puts us in touch with memory that was created before our time. And here in this soul work of the future of Black folks, we're calling in this consciousness, having now matured the will to go beyond the veil, to go beyond what other people think about us, and realize in our own self-consciousness the truth that our ancestors had prepared, that we now bring into this idea. So in the agreement sphere, money is situated within a cultural reality of someone else's conception. And we have been the bearers of the burden of navigating through the landscape of the monetary consciousness that someone else has designed. But within us is a currency that adds value and continue to add value to what is shaped in this current worldview. And what I think in this idea of generative economy and generative sustainable engagement of community lives is that we are giving something to this current reality that it hasn't been here before. Because it's not just coming from what our ancestors and our struggles have taught us. It is coming from the realization that the soul is an eternal space of creation, embodying the best of its time. And so we are bringing something, the best of our time together, the best of our current age. And how do we do it? By this mutual seeing, by this agreement, and by these kinds of forums where we ask each other, how do we know we know? How do we engage with what we love about our cultural struggle and the truthfulness that it has inspired in our hearts? And also, how do we contemplate the generations to come who must inherit the capacities that we are now cultivating within our shared agreement structures? And let that be a guiding principle for the fulfillment of their lives and times to come. I benefited from the study of the work of Alfred Legon. He created in Los Angeles in 1941 the traditional territory of the Tumba. In 1941, the Aquarian Spiritual Center was created to mentor the artistic, intellectual life of the African American, Black cultural struggle in the city of Los Angeles. And Alfred Legon pioneered that work for the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I joined it in the 90s. And in 92, after the civil unrest in which the center met another generation of visionaries that wanted to articulate what is it that our message must be for the age where technology puts our vision not only in the local reality, but in the African diaspora and most in the African spiritual historical context. The return that many of our ancestors have talked about, Marcus Garvey, Sojourner Truth, Mary McLeod Bethune, Mary Pleasant, others whose vision had prepared for us to actually have the most independent thinking and feeling and will effort. So I am committed to this vision that is called forth in this Black Future Co-op Fund, because the cooperative part for me is the power. It's not just the fund and the money in it. It is the agreement powers that we can bless each other with to be able to move between past, present, and future in the conception of this second sight, as Dr. Du Bois pointed out. We're gifted for it not to just complete something that the past has given us, but to prepare for something that the future will give us. And we are in this dialectic capacity building of integrating into our hearts and our will the best of what came before us and prepare for the best of what is to come. The struggle continues in the framework of our own inner conception. But today we are realizing that we are here blessed with what has given us this innate gift in our souls. Langston Hughes wrote the poem, The Negro Speaks of Rivers. And it was not just a poem to articulate a metaphor, but it pointed to this capacity that I'm speaking to. And he says, I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo, and it lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and raised the pyramids above it. I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans, and I've seen its muddy bosom turned all golden in the sunset. I've known rivers, ancient, dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. It invokes us to remember, to reconstitute the historical significance of the memory we are coming from and to, but also to create the social significance and the personal responsibility to host the very power that the soul represents in our age, the superconscious. Not just what we know, but what we can know, given the fact that this innate power is beyond world conception and that we can participate. It's like what Langston Hughes articulated in this poem, and then the Harlem Renaissance emerged from it. We are articulating a fund that will support recovering all the currencies that our soul knows and carries towards the fulfillment of this creation process. So to all of us gathered here and those who will listen to this visioning that we will share today, welcome into our future. Thank you for trusting the invitation to belong to this age of a new renaissance, a revival, and more so, the continued pouring of water on the dreams of our ancestors. May they continue to nourish what we take up and share. Thank you so much, and blessings to our work. Blessings to this Black Future Fund.
Wow. Thank you, Orlin, my teacher and my friend. I'm letting that soak in. Our deepest gratitude for your presence and your spirit. They are medicinal.
Thank you.
Next, I also have the honor and pleasure of introducing our MC for the afternoon, Resmaa Menakem. Resmaa is a healer and cultural navigator. His New York Times bestselling book, My Grandmother's Hands, has been a spiritual guide for me. In it, he talks about the ancestral trauma that lives in our bodies and how we can begin healing so future generations can thrive. I've read this book more times than I can count and will read it many more times, as it's a prescription of how I lead my life and work in community. Resmaa is a therapist specializing in the effects of trauma on the human body and relationships within Black families and across Black society. He's a licensed clinical social worker whose work focuses on making the invisible embodied invisible. He is the originator and key advocate of somatic abolitionism, an embodied anti-racist practice of living and culture building. Resmaa comes to us from Minneapolis, where he previously worked in domestic violence counseling, family mediation, social work, youth counseling, and community organizing. Resmaa is key to our day today, as we need these opportunities to return to ourselves, if you will. Resmaa holds that key to this work. He often describes in his sessions this constant state of fear and rebellion that we're forced to live in. His work helps us to reorganize our bodies and our psyches, a sort of reclaiming with and through our bodies, and the value of doing this work not only individually, but collectively. Resmaa often talks about the thick skin that we're made to develop and the fortified mind, but being sure to keep a malleable heart rather than a hard heart. He also teaches us about this kind of collective grief we share as Black-bodied people that needs communal strategies to resolve. We will rise up today having armed ourselves with information and connection to break the cycle of what happens to us during that constant state of fear and rebellion. For as Resmaa says, there is a rippling out of resilience that can change communities in positive ways. Now, let me stop preaching, as Resmaa explains these concepts much better than I do. So help me to welcome Brother Resmaa. Welcome. We are blessed to have you with us.
Oh, sibling. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Is your words and Brother Bishop's words are just like they're ringing in me right now. I think about how when Brother Bishop talked about the poem of Langston Hughes, and he talked about the places that Langston Hughes talked about, and what he's really talking about is what Langston Hughes is really talking about is a tying back to creation itself, right? And for us never to forget that Blackness transcends time. Blackness is part of creation. Blackness is cosmological, right? It is not just our skin. Our skin is a representation of creation itself. When you think about, I think about the Blackness, not the blackness of the tomb, but the blackness of the womb, that which something can be birthed through. Right. And I think a lot of times as we're talking about these things, like the beautiful thing that you and the other siblings are doing with regard to creation of the Black Future Co-op Fund, what you're doing is you're creating an alchemical process by which people will be pressurized. People will be conditioned. People will be tempered. And what will happen is that things will become metabolized. And something new will emerge based on the nurturance of what has already gone before us. So when I'm listening to Brother Orland, listening to you, the idea of we see you and we see you too is not just a nice thing to say. It is actually an ethical principle by which we must cultivate in our development and our understanding of economics, our understanding of community, our understanding of kinship, right? Those things have to start with seeing each other. And some of us have been so brutalized by this white supremacist system, by this structure, that what ends up happening is that we can't see each other. We can't feel each other. We can't experience each other. Our sense of vibe, our sense of imagination has been thwarted. And so the beauty in what you and your compatriots are trying to do with the Black Future Co-op Fund is you're trying to not just talk about economics and how we protect ourselves, but how do we begin to metabolize what has gone before us so something new can emerge? How do we use the thickening process that happens to our skin as we're building a future and resisting the ravages of white supremacy at the same time? How do we begin to actually not have that take us under, but use it as fuel for our freedom as opposed to fuel that burns us up? So I am so honored to be here with you. I'm so honored to be here with you. I'm so honored to be here with all of the architects of what you guys are doing. And so I would really like to introduce the 4 architects of the Black Future Co-op Fund. I would first like to start with sibling Andrea Capaign Sanders is the CEO of Bird Bar Place and co-founder of the BIPOC Education Coalition, which is a cross-sector collaborative of 240 plus leaders working to promote healing and restore resources. I'd like to introduce Michelle Merriweather, who is the president, CEO of the Urban League Metropolitan Seattle, where she leads advocacy programming and coalition building to improve coalitions for Seattle's Black communities. Angela Jones is the director of Washington State Initiative at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, where she leads the foundation strategy to create sustainable impacts for students, families, and communities. And Senator Tawana Nobles is your state senator for the 28th legislative district, as well as the president and CEO of Tacoma Urban League, where she leads programs to strengthen and support social equality and economic independence. Please join me in welcoming all of these wonderful and beautiful siblings. And I just can't tell you how honored I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Resmaa. We're so incredibly excited to be here with you all today. Just knowing that across the state, hundreds of us are gathered around our collective well-being brings me much joy. You out there and across Washington State are why we created and started the Black Future Co-op Fund 2 years ago, in fact, this week, to ensure a new paradigm for how we work together as a community and a new model for philanthropy that truly works for us and by us.
Exactly, Pastor Andrea. That's how the Black Future Co-op Fund was born, and as Washington State's first philanthropic organization created by us and for us and centering us, the Black Future Co-op Fund is here and is forging a new normal and a paradigm that shifts and puts us first, our creativity, our genius, our hopes, our needs, our sorrows, and our joys.
I love that joy piece, Michelle, and it's that same thinking that has driven us to come to this point of the Black Wellbeing Report and this statewide gathering. I can't believe 2 years ago, I don't know that we envisioned we would get here today. This piece that's crafted for us, by us, and a reminder to all the family out there in the live stream on the YouTube, that the fund is not just about the 4 women that were just introduced. As Andrea mentioned earlier, we aspire to be good ancestors. And so, that's why over the last year, we've tried to, figure out how we can hear more from you through community conversations, through surveys, through our own data collection, instead of everybody else collecting data for us and telling us what it is we need. We want to lift up our collective voices, and we, need your help in identifying what works for us. So today is not a one-time thing. This is one part of many ongoing conversations. And I just want to say, you know what? We see you, we hear you, and quite frankly, we need you.
Thank you, Angela. And keeping that in mind, today we are talking about some of the community identified approaches. And it's so critically important that we have your feedback, that we have your input. Hearing from you is tremendously critical to the finalization of this report. And we want everyone to know that the report is a tool. It's simply a tool to help us to push more resources toward Black-led solutions, and a tool to help us to inform policy. We also want to make sure that everyone understands this requires all of us. It's a co-op for a reason. Everyone is invited in to help us to move forward, to help us to push towards generational wealth and prosperity, and to make sure that we're all working towards solutions that are Black-led and that will help us to have a prosperous future. So we are excited for today, excited for the reports, and just thank you all for joining us today for this event.
All right, so let's do a quick check-in on who's out there today, right? Y'all, we have over 140 watch parties across the state. We're supposed to be having at least 80 people at each of the 3 satellite locations, Spokane, Tacoma, Seattle. And that's right, we've got folks in the 425, right? The 253, 206, 509, and 360 area codes. We are coming from all over the state. And we want you to know that we want to connect with you, as Angela said. We need you. We want you to tune in today. So we want to hear where you're tuning in from. While we're saying hello to the satellite locations, we want to know where people are in the watch party. So scan the QR code on the screen to use in the poll, or just drop your location in the comments even. We want to know where you're watching from and who you're repping for. So tell us your zip code, area code, freeway exit, or neighborhood in the comments. And so let's get with it. I know I grew up in Kent, so I'm a rep for Kent for a quick minute. So 253 98032 Kent Des Moines exit off I-5. I now live in Skyway, so I'm also repping 98178. Where are we at? Wow, Rainier Beach, Hilltop, Tacoma, okay. Lake Bay, yep. Bellevue, okay. Northgate, Vancouver, yes, I love it, yes. Spokane, yes. 98002, I love it. Snohomish County, 98036 and 509. I love it. Vancouver again, some more Vancouver, 98404. Ooh, even Lacey. I used to work in Olympia. I love me some Lacey. Tacoma, yes. Yes, Brother Lyle. Puyallup, love it. Yes. Ooh, I see some Washington, D.C. in there. Liberty Bank Building, CD, that's right. Airway Heights, I love it. I love this. Thank you. Wow, we are really showing up today. It feels so good, y'all, to be out there, to know that you're out there. Thank you for showing out. Thank you for showing up for us. Thank you for spending this time with us. Resmaa, handing it back to you to tell us what's next.
Man, thank you, Andrea. The synergy of what you guys are putting together it just feels so amazing for me to be here. Next up, we're excited to share a performance by Arami Walker. Arami is a multidimensional musician, author, and educator who lives in Seattle and uses the power of music to shift consciousness. Inspired by poetry, music, and language, Arami engages media to promote a healthier way to share stories and develop society. Immediately following Arami, I cannot wait for you to hear the keynote speaker, Vinikia Williams from Media 2070, whose pursuit of justice is informed by the radical Black tradition. From designing curriculum, graphics, events to facilitating in-person and virtual trainings on racial, political, and spiritual matters. Vinikia is a lifelong learner and instructor. As you watch, remember to drop your feelings, comments, and questions into the chat. We want to hear from you throughout the event. Now I'd like to introduce Arami Walker. Thank you.
It's a hypnotic meditation, positive vibration, elation. This is a sensation. Wait until I come up words that sum up the indifference of you and me. Higher quality. I just wanna see eye to eye so you can realize the masculinity, the disguise you were born into. But your mindset is up to you. Hopefully you make it through. That is persistence. This is resistance. Wondering who this is. Searching for myself in doorways, highways, closets, apartments with keys. Singing songs that bring you to your knees. I just wanna breathe. I just wanna breathe. I just wanna breathe. I just wanna breathe.
I just wanna breathe. I just wanna breathe. Reach the people if I must. The deeper my intuition be speaking, then I trust the process. Sipping offset thought, try and manifest confidence that I can rise above the rest. Victory lap in the track and field, cause I outran the stress. Can't catch up, make up the rest of life at best. All profits, they lock the fathers in prison for profit. Imprison the mind to keep us offset. Keep my conscience in check. Every day is a test with options. Fuck around and choose the wrong topic. Money over everything, but it's love I'd rather sing. Suffering the people need substance so they soak and feed. I provide the nutrients, nurturing the third to see. Roots before the leaves, that's the wisdom after smoking weed. Get more focus free, fresher than your produce be. Healthy style living so my essence shine heavily. Yes, yes, yes.
And I am not afraid to say no, just so you know. I am not a monkey nor a hoe, where's my dough? Red rose an hour ago, so we break it. Make no mistake, this wit was designed to illuminate the state with elevated consciousness. I'm sick of all the nonsense in media, hysteria, criteria not innocuous. My words are inconspicuous, a mystery to the sophist list of ideology. Was the reasoning for reconnaissance? Are you feeling this? Tell me, are you feeling this?
Yes, yes. It goes deep, y'all.
Walking through the valley of darkness alone, I hope you find yourself deeper, deeper in your self-awareness. Thoughts from before and after you coming to this moment. I hope you move forward in life in 2020 vision. Humanity rising together, masculine and femininity working together to uplift us to a better situation. Partnerships that are real, founding in love and loyalty. What is your love language so I can see how to bring myself to the highest level to meet you, because we as people deserve to love.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. We're here to talk about Black well-being, and that video just spoke to the need for us to breathe, slow it down, and learn to cooperate with each other. That was such a powerful display of us beginning to work with all of those pieces that we're going to need in order to have this thing be as successful as we want it to be. I'd really like to hear and see what some of the people who just heard that and just saw that. What did you think about it? What stood out for you? What were the things that were impactful in that video for you? I know for me, that like I said, the first thing that caught me was the piece around breathing and breath. And for me, breathing and breath is about slowing down. Yeah, Dana. The idea of slowing down and breathing. And this piece around the Black Future Co-op Fund, the piece around the Black Future Co-op Fund is that we're going to need time. A lot of times, urgency gets us to do things that go against our own self-best interest. And the idea of breathing, slowing down, learning how to cooperate with each other is as much a part of this experience as quote unquote money or currency. And so I just want to thank you so much for that video and spurring our imagination, which is another very important part of doing this work. Next up, I'd like to introduce our first panel, which is on education, where you'll hear from my Dalila Kellen, and then Kellen Hagans, and then Tawana Nobles. A reminder is that this is what these will be short clips of what you will see on June 7th. Drop your question and comments in the chat for panelists, and we'll make sure they get them for June 7th. You will be with them live. So once again, I want to introduce the panel. Thank you so much, and stay tuned. Oh, did I? Oh, I messed up. So, sorry about that, everybody. I'd like to introduce Vinikia Williams, the keynote. I cannot wait for you to hear Vinikia Williams from Media 2070. Sibling Vinikia, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Welcome to everyone who is watching virtually. Hello to everyone who's in the room. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Thank you. I want to start off by grounding myself. My nerves, y'all, my nerves. So I'm going to use a chant used by BYP 100 when in the streets, ancestors watching. Ancestors watching, I know they're watching. Ancestors watching, I know. Ancestors watching, I know they're watching. Ancestors watching, I know. I know that the people who have come before us and have traveled and traversed this thing called life are here with us in this moment. And I give thanks that they keep watch, that great cloud of witnesses, constantly giving guidance that is so very needed. Amen. Amen. The architects and coordinators of this event, they talk about being good future ancestors, and I love that concept. When it's all said and done, when my time is up here and I transition from this realm, I want it to be said that I did my part. I want it to be said that I showed up and I played my role and I left this place better than I found it. I hope that's true for you. The people that you loved, the work that you put your hand to, that it's changed for the better. So I hope that things that are said and done in this space throughout the remainder of the program, that can be true. I start off by honoring the ancestors, but then I also honor you all. I honor the fact that you are here and I welcome you. However it is that you enter this space. Some of us might be experiencing a season of sweetness and contentment, and I love that for you. Some of us are yet holding on. Is that true for any of y'all? I am yet holding on. But however you appear in this space, come and we bring it all and we find ourselves here together. I hope we leave with a little bit more resolve and a little bit more intention for what it means moving forward. Today, a lot will be said specifically about how we get free and how we remain free. You'll see in the panels that are coming up after me that we'll talk about health and education, cooperative economics, and things of that sort. So I do want to talk a bit generally, more so what it means, togetherness. and also what it means and what role story plays within that togetherness. Today, I want you all to think about how we might survive and ultimately thrive in a new society that we collectively build. I believe that a new world that is shaped by compassion, shaped by mutual care and concern is not only possible, it's inevitable. That world is coming. Octavia Butler says, there's nothing new under the sun, but there are new suns. There's nothing new under the sun, but there are new suns. And I ultimately want to say that before we even get to that, we have to discuss how we deconstruct this current reality before we even think about a better, new, and more just one. I'm going to talk about stories because they're powerful, y'all. I'm from the South, so I'm going to say y'all a lot. The stories tell us who we've been, and they also help remind us of who we might be, who we might become. Stories, they do the work of sort of warning us, don't do that. The people who just came before us tried that, that ain't work, don't do that no more. And it also opens up future portals into future things. Someone who I consider an ancestor, June Jordan, writes, we need to have a meeting by this tree, ain't even been planted yet. Again, we need this meeting by this tree, ain't even been planted yet. And that is my invitation. We need to meet, we need to gather, congregate, come together and talk out some things. There are future things that are sprouting up now. There are hidden things that are slowly and surely making themselves known. The times that we're in require that we go back and get some things. Some people talked about Sankofa. And the times also require that we create some innovative and new ways for the days to come. Some of the old things won't work. We must write the story as we see it and as we need it to be told. If we don't talk about these things and name them, I fear that we might lose them and ultimately miss out on our blessing. I think that it's time that we reclaim our story, that collective story, as one of our presenters before said. In doing so, we reclaim our power. So I'm talking to you today about Black narrative power. Black narrative power. I work with Media 2070, and we're an Afrofuturist project. We're sort of this speculative thing that asks a lot of what ifs. We don't know, but we just asking some questions. What if Black people could create and own and control their stories is one of the questions that we asked. If it wasn't up to them, the things that were seen and portrayed in the media. I will take a poll right now and ask many of you, do you trust the media? That's what I thought. I don't think I would see many hands from the things that we read and the things that we take in as entertainment. There's a message of Black people that's being shared that isn't ultimately true. In the rare occasion that our stories are told, we're victimized, we're demonized, we're dehumanized, seen as less than human or not even human at all. And so what does that mean when the myth, the lie of Black inferiority is all that starts to take its toll, right? That consciousness, that inner person starts to wilt and wither. And so it's not up to them to tell our stories. We must begin to tell the story of us. What they don't show is our love. If it's in a lesser thing, it's a beautiful, powerful thing. What they don't show is our beauty. What they don't show is our resilience and our humanity. So we must do it. We can't leave it up to them. We must be able to build Black narrative power to prepare ourselves for the things to come. So what I'm going to do for the rest of my time is use a tool used in organizing spaces when building trust and building capacity, which is what I believe that we're doing today, which is a tool called the story of self, the story of us, and the story of now. The story of self, the story of us, and the story of now. If you'd allow me, the story of self is that personal individual narrative. It's the thing that makes you you. When you stand up and you're telling your testimony, that's the story of self. The story of us then is you within the collective, What does it mean, and where do we currently find ourselves in this moment? All these things are then woven together into the story of now. Now that the individual has placed itself within the collective, what must we do? What must we do? And I want to model this for us, of course, using myself as an example. I, Vanikia Samantha Williams, she, her pronouns, and the child of 2 Jamaican immigrants, Caribbean Massive Wagwan, big up yourself, all of that. But I saw my parents work so hard. I saw them work so hard, 2, 3 jobs a piece, and still very often they didn't have much to show for it. Didn't have plenty, didn't have the flashiest of things, the newest of things. But I can say it's a blessing that we never did without. We never did without. If you know anything about migrant communities, we moved together. We moved together. So there was extended family. There were the church members. There were the neighbors. There were the play cousins and them who made sure that I ate something that day, who made sure that I had a safe place to lay my head, who made sure there were even some Jamaican women who were sewing together outfits for me to wear to school, all the way from Jamaica, y'all. So they were gonna make sure that I was okay and I didn't do without. And that leads me for everything that I do. I see my mother do it now. I saw my grandmother do it before her. And it's even my grandmother's legacy. So it's in my lineage and in my legacy to see a person who is in need and to give my last. That is just my inheritance. This leads me to the story of us. Knowing my story and lineage and legacy, while our story might differ in the specifics, generally we know this to be true. You know someone who right now is alchemizing and magically making a way out of no way. And if you don't think on it, somebody will come to mind. There are people, and as a people, we have that legacy of making it work somehow, $1 out of 15 cents, right? And it's community that's kept us. When people ask me what liberation looks like, I have a little niece, I talk about the opening scene of The Princess and the Frog. And she has that gumbo pot, and they just open the door and tell everybody, y'all, we got some gumbo, and here come people with the cornbread, people bringing spoons, and everybody is eating. If I got it, you got it. That is what liberation means. COVID, in its earliest days, had some people learning about mutual aid for the first time. But we knew. It had many of us talking and imagining what a new world might look like. There were people who came to realize that there shouldn't be anybody without the medical care that they needed just because of money. People should have a place to lay their head, right? That everybody should have a living, more than a living wage, to make sure that they get their needs met for themselves and their loved ones. We knew long before March 2020 that the police only protect and serve property, not people. We knew that landlords were predatory. We knew that some government officials don't care about the people on the margins, but push them to be out of sight, out of mind. We knew, because these struggles are not new, but neither is the care that we show each other. Which leads me to the story of now. Because of this, today and right now, I feel it necessary to ask us to love one another, not just in word, but in deed. Like someone said, it's not just a cute sort of thing to say to put a Band-Aid on some harms, but to say we actually love one another. This is what keeps us together, and more than keeping us together, it's what keeps us alive. Us recognizing and ultimately enjoying our shared humanity and ensuring that we get to live in its fullness is the work. There are so many people doing the hashtag work, doing everything but loving the person in front of them. No matter your vocation, your 9 to 5, the work is making sure that the person next to you is okay. Black well-being, the theme of this event, is only possible when we tap into our collective power. It is only possible when we tap into our collective power, because nobody is coming to save us. No one is coming to save us. We are the ones that we have been waiting for. We are the ones that we have been waiting for. All that we need is in this room. We, me, you, us, are the ones that we have been waiting for. If you continue to wait on them, you will starve. Again, it's us. It's us who will save us. We are the ones who will scheme up and dream up these new realities that we talked about. I say again, Octavia Butler's quote, "Ain't nothing new under the sun, but there are new suns." How do we build that? The story of self, us, and now. I believe our story should be making space for one another, lightening one another's load, removing obstacles to somebody else thriving. That is the only way that togetherness can be attained and sustained. The only way a new world can come about. This is how we regain that collective sense of we. Media 2070, the project that I'm a part of, asked a question, again, all the what ifs. What could the world look like in the year 2070? Hence the name 2070. Now, some of y'all are like, I won't even be around for that. Again, future ancestor, you will be here. You will be here. And what do you want the world to look like? Some people, when given this exercise, they're still struggling and suffering and can't see past their present situation. And I understand that. I understand that. It's hard to dream when every day is a nightmare. It's hard. It's hard. While freedom is a constant struggle, y'all, I don't want to still be fighting in 50 years. Do you? You can talk to me. No? No. No. In 50 years, I want to make sure that every system and every structure of domination is torn down. I want to make sure that the high places are brought down low. I want my people to be enjoying the benefit of the fight that we fight today so that we can rest tomorrow. Sweet Honey in the Rock sings, "We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes." Some of you hear that and say, all my life I had to fight. All my life, you tell me I gotta fight some more? Yes, because when the enemy is on your heel, is not the time to take a bubble bath. Self-care has become monetized, it's become commodified, and it's become a way to spend a whole lot of money just to distract yourself from the things going on outside. And I know that because I'm guilty of it. I got a few Amazon packages waiting for me at home. So I know what it looks like to distract yourself from the things that are going on. But our well-being comes when we remember who we are and that without one another, we're nothing. We're nothing. We have nothing. Ubuntu, a South African principle, says, I am because we are, and a person is a person because and through other people. We must come together and fight to secure a future in which rest and ease and relaxation are even a possibility. Because I don't want to get free at the expense of my brother, sister, sibling. I don't want to get free and have some ease and the person down the street and around the corner is still struggling and suffering. Until it's all of us, we ain't got it yet. We, like I said, have to do the work of deconstructing our current reality before we even think about constructing and reconstructing a new one. If this is to be the case, we all got a job. We all have a role to play. I know we talk about, well, one day we won't have to work. No, what it'll be is that work won't be exploitative. There'll be joy and there'll be ease. People will be able to do that work based on their skill set and what they have to offer. It's not what we got now. So in this new role, in this new future with the new sun in this new world, we have a role and we have a calling. We need some troublemakers. Where y'all at? Make some noise. Come on. We need the troublemakers who by any means, and I mean any means necessary, are pursuing and getting the justice we deserve. I won't say too much on that because the feds be watching. Then we also need the healers who are tending to some age-old wounds and some new traumas. Every day is something, and we need the people who are skilled in our ancient practices who can do the work of healing our weary souls. We need visionaries. We need people who can see where we need to be. And we also, you don't need people who are just like head in the clouds. You need some strategists. You need some architects, amen? Come on, who can strategize and build out where we need to go and build that new world that's coming. We need the griots, we need the storytellers, we need the artists, big ups to y'all, who can tell the story of how we overcome to those who are coming. And that story, what will be said of us? What will be said of us? How I started, again, I want to say, I want it to be said of me that I left this place better than I found it. I left this world better than I found it. I showed up with and for my people. And I played my part. We all have a part to play in this. And if you're unsure what part you now play, I encourage you to begin with that story of self. Begin with your story. What are the things that make you come alive? Or what are the things that make you burn with righteous anger? What are those things? Begin with that story and begin to collect it, incorporate it into that collective narrative of the story of now. Bring your time, your talent, your treasures to the people. The story of now, because right now is the time when all of us are needed. And we can't let up, y'all. Why? Because we who believe in freedom cannot rest. Oh, we who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Thank y'all. Thank you.
That was, oh my goodness. That was so beautiful. Thank you, Sister Vanikia. You know, a couple things that stood out for me in that is the idea of making sure that you ain't the only one that's doing good, but the person next to you is also doing all right. I am because we are. That stood out for me. Resting stood out for me. Making sure we incorporate resting and taking care of each other. And that self-care is all right, but communal care is what feeds our well-being, our Black well-being. Those pieces, what stood out for you? We want to see what stood out for you in the comments. We want to see what stood out for you as you start to begin to put stuff in. It's important to us to hear those things and see those things. Something that happened is that as we went into the me introducing, I made a mistake. And one of the beautiful things that I noticed is that when I went into the chat, people held me. They didn't rip me apart. They didn't try and say, you know, where'd you get this bozo from? What they did was say, keep going, brother. I love you. And that's what it's going to take for us to get to where we want to be. That's what it's good. That's the energy that the Black Future Co-op Fund needs. So I just want to thank you. That was it in its I loved how that showed up. And thank you again, Sister Vanikia. That was beautiful. Communal care, absolutely. Communal care is so important to this work. It is not enough just to have self-care and get your feet done if the people next door to you or the people in your house ain't doing well either. So, you know, if we're gonna build the foundation has to be solid. And if the foundation is only centered on personal, it can't sustain itself. So up next is our first panel on education, where you'll hear from Ma'at Dalia, Ma'at Dali, and then Kellen Hagans and Tawana Nobles. And as a reminder, these are just short clips of what you will see on June 7th. Drop the questions in the comment for the panelists, and they'll be sure to bring those up and go over them on June 7th. Thank you.
My name is Ma'at Dalila, and I'm a co-founder of Black Star Line, African Center Family Educational Collective. I'm also a daughter and an auntie and a mom of a 17-year-old Black male that's getting ready to be 18 and go into and emerging into adulthood. And so I'm really glad to be here.
Hello, my name's Kellen Hagans. I am a sophomore at the University of Puget Sound. I'm also the Black Student Union president at the University of Puget Sound. I'm a double major in environmental policy and African American studies with a minor in politics and government. I also work over here in the Office of Institutional Equity and Diversity, and it's great to be here to talk with you. So I'm going to talk about redefining academic standards to cultivate Black brilliance. One thing about being here at working with Black students at the collegiate level, we really see the ways in which education systems aren't made for Black people and how we feel ostracized in educational systems. And I think that when we're redefining terms of academics, it really means moving away from academics being white. So looking at the ways in which we are unlearning and creating new things with education systems that aren't really meant for us. And I think one thing that's really exciting about that is innovation. When we're seeing Black innovation and the ways in which Black students, I just feel like are always redefining academics by taking it to above standards that have already been set for us, but it's something that we are able to, I feel like we're just constantly rising above it all.
So Kaylin, you brought up a good issue, an important issue, especially with your first point around the fact that many times in these institutions, we feel like we have to be twice as good. Right? We have to work twice as hard. And you also bring up and remind me around how much work has been put into the current education system since day one. We had to fight to get in there. And as I said before, Black Star Line has a lot of respect and honors, those ancestors that did that work, that, definitely paved the way so that you could matriculate where where you're going to school, where, made it so I could go to school and get an education and it not be illegal. So we have lots of respect for all that work and, and effort that was put in. And definitely folks that, the struggle still continues. People are still fighting. You're talking about it going on at your campus. And so that's a constant. We believe that, these approaches were interesting to read, but they really do focus on systemic change, looking at what's been given us and how can we reform it? How can we make it more better? And we at Black Star Line really believe in Black brilliance, as I'm sure that you do as well. And that there's been, as I've said before, lots of time, effort, and energy put into trying to fix what we believe is a broken system. And we really believe that we have the brilliance and the expertise and the knowledge to create schools and educational projects and products that then are geared toward our children, our students, our families. And so the approach is, again, we know that it's important to do what we need to do with what we've been given, but there is, we can be creative. We are creative, and that there are other ways in which our children and students can be educated. The approach that really looked at integrating mastery and competency towards self-actualization, I believe can't happen in the current system, but it can happen with an African-centered approach that then we in the community and in the families and homes within the Black community, we definitely can make happen.
I am, really excited about a couple of the approaches that were identified. I definitely would say the first one is the integrated mastery or competency-based learning towards self-actualization. And that's simply because I know the conversations that are happening across our state, including in our state legislature, the types of education policy that is coming down the pipeline. So making sure that as these conversations about mastery and competency-based learning, as these conversations are happening, it's critically important that the Black community and Black education organizations are at the table and also in agreement with the direction of the mastery and competency-based learning and practices and standards that are being created, so that we can make sure it is heading towards self-actualization, and that it is absolutely going to support and benefit Black students and their academic and social experiences. And I think one dream that I have and that I hope can, manifest into reality is that we can figure out, as it relates to public education and our community members who even are advocates and champions for different school options. I believe in school options as well. I love that right here in Tacoma, there are, there's Sammy and Soda and Idea and a number of schools that are allowing families to give students a more specific and relatable academic experience. But what I dream about is that community can continue to work together to do what's best for students. And I think there are lots of silos doing really great work. And it would be my dream that we can bring folks together collectively for the benefit of Black students here across our state, just more and more. A lot of us are kind of cross-sector and cross-group and very collaborative, but my dream that I hope can manifest into reality is that we continue to bring those conversations together and collaborate and figure out what we want for Black students across the state.
Wow, wow, wow. That was beautiful. I mean, for Black people to start to begin to think about not just education as it currently exists, but how can education actually meet our own needs? How can we use the moorings that we have gotten from our own people? How can we use that to provide a future for our children and provide a future for our people? A lot of times we have been duped into thinking that we have to go to academics, we have to go to school, we have to go to college, we have to do those different types of things in order to be a full-fledged human being. And what I think with this panel, what you're going to get with this panel on June 7th is an understanding that the idea of education is much broader. The idea of education should be that draws something out of you, not just to put something into you. And the beautiful thing that I heard, the other beautiful thing that I heard is the piece around building, how you have to build something at the same time that you're resisting it. So you're building this kind of education that fits and is for your people. At the same time, you're resisting the ravages of the current system. And that's, I think on June 7th, when you see this panel, that will open up more for you. And so I just want to make sure that you show up to that and you go to it virtually on June 7th at 5:15, where the panelists will present and answer your questions. And you can go to the Black Future Co-op Fund to find the links. I just think it's really important that we think about how can we make education what we need for us and not just keep taking this cookie cutter approach to education. So thank you so much. I also trying to think. I want to also introduce a poll. Family, we want to see how you're feeling so far about this. Want you to scan the QR code and then also in the link and in the chat and let's see what's resonating for you. Let's see what's coming up. Let's engage. We really want to see so far from this last panel and what's preceded the panel. What's been coming up for you? What do you notice? Okay. All right. Well, I would like to, okay, here we go. Dana, the idea of education should draw something out of you, not just put something into you. Exactly. Exactly. Education is not, you're not supposed to be robots. You're supposed to take information and then make it knowledge. And that's the beautiful thing I think about what the Black Future Co-op Fund is doing, is giving room so we can begin to think about that. The idea that education should be something that yes, It doesn't have, if this idea of self-actualization is not just about taking the information. The idea of self-actualization is allowing a kind of a metabolizing of it and then see what comes forward. Doing our own thing, everyone shared a humility and desire to serve. It's beautiful. This is a beautiful comment. Somebody said, I am so hopeful right now. How often, as Black people, how often do we hear that? How often do we hear that we're hopeful about something, that we can actually do something, especially when we see all of the carnage that happens to our people? That is so beautiful. Being innovative and dismantling the current systems, right? Love, Black love. One of the things that my wife used to say to me is that when for Black people, when you are in the space where you hear big belly laughs and butterfly kisses, that's when you know there's real community showing up. We still need to have more conversation about inclusivity in our own community. Absolutely. This isn't just about one idea of what Blackness means. This is about how do we begin to work with it and see what's best for our community. Another one, I'm so hopeful right now. Future ancestors, the idea of we're in the process of becoming ancestors, we're in the process of becoming elders, and how do we live into that experience? We should be in charge of our own education, our own expansion for our future. Traditional education is one path. How can we create other paths? This is beautiful, so beautiful. Somebody said that they're overwhelmed. A lot of this information I see, it can be overwhelming. What we really like for you to do is make sure you reach out to people, right? When you get overwhelmed, sometimes we think it's just happening to us personally, but a lot of our overwhelm is also communal. So only developing individual strategies for communal overwhelm is inadequate. We have to actually develop communal strategies for communal overwhelm. And then power in our stories, and there are new suns. There's nothing new that was a beautiful piece. There's nothing new under the sun, but there are new suns. Power, another piece is the beauty and the power in our own stories. And then creating a Black independent education system. So that's both building and resisting at the same time. So thank you so much. These are so beautiful. I promise you through the course of this, we'll keep coming back to these. Right now, I'm pleased to introduce Lydia K. Valentine. Lydia is a poet and playwright, editor and education and director of Traumaturg, who believes that the power of good and healing capacity in writing, reading, and the necessity of the Oxford comma. Lydia grew up in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. Lives in another gritty city of Tacoma, Washington, where she's honored to be the 2021 through 2023 Poet Laureate. Lydia's poetry collection Brief Black Candles can be found ordered anywhere that books are sold. She's directing The Luck of the Irish in 2022, a Tacoma Little Theater at the Tacoma Little Theater, and hopes to see you there. Show Lydia some love, y'all. Thank you.
Love wins, but the war is not over. Love, action verb, intransitive form. To work actively, directly or indirectly, in opposition of hate, from any source and any form, regardless of personal benefit. Neither Merriam nor Webster signed off on this definition. It didn't leap from the catalog of Shakespeare's lexiconic creations. The days when old white men deliver our truth is over. There is no ambiguity in the meaning that I offer you here. Unlike the cloudy quagmire of tone-bound definitions like love, transitive verb, to feel deep affection for? Who determines the adequate depth of feeling for it to be deemed deep? And affection means fondness, which means affection. Love is more than a candy-coated confection. It is the cleansing fire and soaring flight of a dragon armored in grace. It sounds like a lot because it is. You may be mentally retreating to the safety of the directive, choose your battles wisely. I say we are where we are now because of that cubic zirconian piece of advice. Because of people seeing their battles as separate from their neighbors, or even against their neighbors and everyone and everything else in this world, and cherry picking the shiny issues plumped up on the limbs of the trees that only grow in their yards, while ignoring the fact that those trees are possible because of the soil toiled and tended for generations by the original stewards of our lands, and the roots that have been watered and continue to be watered by the lifeblood of Black and brown people. But that is a poem for another day. To love is not to pick your battles, but to know that all of our battles are the same battle, and to pick your tactics wisely. March or make sandwiches, shout or sing, fundraise or film, love. Set boundaries, see things through, stay informed, stay hydrated, rest, return, love. Take your time, but take a step. Take your meds, take a chance, love. Say thank you when someone holds the door for you. Say I'm sorry, say no, love. Hold someone's hand, hold someone's heart. Hold folks accountable for their words and deeds against others. Hold another's burden just for a moment, just for a breath. Just let them breathe. The universe is holding you. Love. Listen, laugh, live. Live even when you don't know how. You are a gift. You are meant. Live. Love. Let go of the toxic, even if it comes from your mama, even if it comes from your church, even if it comes from within. Love. Remember your name. Remember your worth. Remember your selfness that lives regardless of relationship or real estate. Love. Love wins because to love is to fight for all of us, and it never stops.
Oh, that was powerful, powerful. What stood out for me was the piece around the day of old white man telling us what our truth is over. You know, no truer words could be said, that we get to create our own future and our own narrative. And our own understanding and our own moorings and our own way forward. And to me, that's what the Black Future Co-op Fund is really doing, is that they're creating an opportunity for us to actually think and dream and lean in to what the possibilities might be in our future. Up next is our segment and our panel on health. And that is with Anae Abbey, Winding Barrington, and Mother Maxine Hayes. So glad to have you here. And this is a small piece of what you will see when you come to the full thing. Thank you.
I'm Maxine Hayes, and I'm delighted to be here with my colleagues. And I'm retired pediatrician and Emeritus, UW, School of Public Health and School of Medicine.
Thank you for having me. My name is Aine Abby, and I'm the CEO of the Tubman Center for Health and Freedom. And on our screen here, we also have our colleague coming live.
Hi there, it's great to be here with you. My name is Wendy Barrington. I'm Associate Professor at the University of Washington Schools of Nursing and Public Health and the Director for the Center for Anti-Racism and Community Health.
In the Black Wellbeing Report, I got really excited about two key approaches. The first one around community-initiated and operated systems. That's really important. That's why we founded the Tubman Center for Health and Freedom. Things that keep us well is community, and it's each other. And a lot of us, we've been working in healthcare institutions, public health, but we actually haven't had an institution that is owned, operated, and driven by us. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, we kept hearing from community. It's really time for us to use the resources, the skills, and the abilities that we already have in our community, these assets that we have, and to get organized together. And so that excited me in the report because that is something we were directly hearing from community, and it's reflected in the report.
What really excites me about this report is the approach. We've tried everything, and things aren't getting better, especially for segments of our population. And so I think the mere fact that going to the community and asking them and recognizing respectfully the assets that they can bring. In fact, they have the answers to a lot of the problems we're trying to solve.
It definitely uplifts community solutions and approaches,
Yes.
especially around community initiated and operated. That's why we started the Tubman Center for Health and Freedom. We were hearing the same thing from community. It's time, for public health professionals. We know the gold standard of public health is for community to drive the process. And without that, then we can never do interventions on the systems that are making us sick. And so it's not just about individual behavior change that's impacting our health. It's about the systems that are making us unwell. And that was really prevalent in the report, and I appreciated to see that there.
If I could just jump in and build off of something you just said, Aine, because it really strikes me in terms of the primacy of racism and really needing to address that, being very focused and clear-eyed and not deviating from recognizing that we need to address structural racism. And I think, the statistic that you cited is also, born in other data sets in terms of Black families, Black individuals of higher socioeconomic status are still experiencing poor health, poor well-being than whites who are poorer or who have less education. So it's not just a class issue. It's not just an economics issue.
Right.
There is the issue of racism and how that is structuring opportunity and resources and generational wealth and the ability to be able to not just another issue in the report that was highlighted, not just survive and kind of meet basic needs, but to actually thrive and to dream and to aspire. And that's what we need to not turn away from. It's very easy for, I think, our systems and our dominant culture, which I'm just going to name it, is embedded in white supremacy culture, wanting us to veer and turn our head from that because it's uncomfortable, or we don't want to name it and we don't want to actually address it head on, and we have to. I dream of Black communities glowing with the knowledge and power to affect the changes needed and wanted to manifest their collective destinies, to be secure in their knowledge and expertise, to have faith as well as the receipts to document that their knowledge and expertise is working and is valued. And how am I manifesting that reality? I mentioned I'm a professor at the University of Washington, an institution whose mission is to preserve, advance, and disseminate knowledge for the public good. And institutions of higher learning like the UW have been and continue to be inaccessible to those experiencing social marginalization, most especially Black Americans. We are, as an institution, therefore, in default of our mission, because who we are, how we think, and what we do is not available nor benefiting all members of society.
Yes. And one of the things that we've missed so much in care is empathy. Our providers don't have it. And that should bother us. That should bother us. We're having to teach how to be empathetic. And the first lessons learned is going to, it's going to help everybody. But we've got to want to value that. And as was so beautifully stated, the first reflection that we have are our families.
Yes. And, for me, a quick another story, this past Sunday was Mother's Day.
Yes.
And I went on a hike with my youngest child, and then we went to the park, and we were having a great day. And my son gets to the top of the ladder. He's ready to go down, and there was another kid up there, and the kid's like, sees my son. I can see right away the kid wants to cause some harm to my son. So I look over at the white parent, and I said, hey, watch your son, because I can tell already he's focused. And the kid starts taking my son's fingers off of the handlebars as he's at the top of the ladder. And I'm waiting for the dad to respond. And the dad doesn't respond, and my son's holding on. And then the kid spits in my son's face. And I yell at the dad. And I'm like, your son just spit in my son's face. And the dad acted like nothing's wrong. And I said, you know what? This is taught. The disrespect and not having dignity is taught. Heart.
Yes. We want to be seen as human beings.
Yes.
Humanity to humanity. And that's what has been lost.
Yes.
And we have to come back to that as a community. And that's why the community is so important in these processes. I'm just really pleased to see civic engagement and community organizations organizing, community organizing.
That's right.
These are methods by which
Yes.
I think that we can really try to get
Exactly.
real
Community
change.
organizing is how we get
Yes,
to health justice.
exactly, exactly. Community.
Whew. Can we just take a minute? That that last piece of having a Black mama watch somebody spit in her son's face with no redress. Those things are constant and persistent. And I think sometimes we just move on and we don't understand that the impact of that can linger. And I want us to pause just for a minute so we can understand that something happened and continues to happen to our people. That thing that happened to that little boy was not episodic. It was structural. It's constant. The destruction of the Black body is constant. And the thing I love about what the Black Futures Fund is trying to do is give us space and time and room for us to begin to look and understand the consistency of this type of thing and how it has a structural, institutional roots. So the idea that racism and white body supremacy has primacy, that it is constant, that it is structural, We have to begin to cultivate that and understand that, because otherwise we'll look at it as incidental and episodic, and it is not. What happened to our people in Buffalo is not episodic. What happened to our people, what happened to Emmett Till is not episodic, it's constant. What happened on the plantations is constant. We have to remember that. I'm pleased to introduce the next panel. Our next panel will be on economic mobility with Hamdi Abdullah and Anthony Peterson and Inye Wakoma. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Hamdi Abdul. I am the Director of African Community Housing and Development. I am, I see myself, or I recognize myself as someone who is always fighting for social justice, someone who's able to see inequity from multiple angles simultaneously, someone who understands probably how to fight and fearless in her approach. I am someone who cares about the issues that matter to my community. And when I'm saying my community, my larger community, the Black community specifically, someone who wants to close those, or play a role in closing those barriers that we might have socially as Black community, and cares about the importance of leaning to each other and learning from each other, a believer of informed community, which I mean like informed from the bottom to the top.
My name is Inye Wakoma. I am a Seattle native and a lifelong resident of the Central District. I've lived here most of my life, not my entire life, but my work both as an artist and an organizer and someone who has helped to create multiple community institutions is definitely centered in my experience of being a part of this community. And so I'm a founder of Wanawari, the organization that I'm here to talk about today. And Wanawari is a center for Black art, social connection, community stories, and organizing. Founded in 2019, so we're in our third year of operation. And our work leverages art to create the conditions that support Black homeownership retention, both by creating community capacity to address issues of land use policy, but also creating the kind of robust community infrastructures that help folks create solutions that can be activated on the ground.
Yes, my name is Anthony Peterson, and I'm the Executive Director of OIC of Washington, and I'm a product of Tacoma and Lakewood, Washington. However, I've lived in Central Washington for the last 15 years, respectively in Yakima County. I have a passion and desire to lead BIPOC community programs and serve individuals of all ages. I have a background in organizational leadership, development, and grant writing and grant development. The organization I currently lead is OIC of Washington again, which is one of 100, or it was founded as the 100th OIC in America back in 1971. We are led by the great Reverend Leon Sullivan, who recognized the shortcomings and limited opportunities for Black people in America, and wanted to create systems to train and promote the hiring of Black people in America. And through his and under his Sullivan principles, we continue operating training and workforce development programs here in Washington State, as well as providing other service programs, all intended to eliminate the conditions and the causes of poverty.
So I believe the report cites both the retention and the expansion of Black homeownership as one of the core community priorities, and that really sits well with the work that we do at Wanawari. As I mentioned in my introduction, we do function on a daily basis as an arts and community center. However, our work is really wrapped around the idea that art can be a frontline tool to address very critical social and economic challenges. And so, as an institution, we operate in a Black-owned home, and we established the organization Wanawari to prevent the sale of this particular home and the loss of it to the Black community. And in doing so, we were able to raise enough money to pay the family market rate rent for a house that they did not have the immediate resources to fix up in order to rent it on the open market and get that kind of revenue coming in.
The first question that hit my head was like, why? And I have a scientific background, but I ask questions why, and I seek answers. And if I don't find the right answer, then that's an area of work for me. Or how to think bigger and work with those, even among those who have barriers or stigma or something that is prohibiting from receiving the job that they need to receive. How you help situations like that through experiences from the outside world, because I traveled a lot in my life. I've learned that people who try hard or can change the course or the trajectory for their, young people. So through that experience, I've learned that there are possible ways that we don't have to all work for the wealthy. We don't have to all work for specific groups or corporates that we know. We can have our own businesses and generate our own income through what we like as we wish.
Yeah, Inya, you bring up a good point on how it's kind of organically led by the community. And I think just in the work that we do, and not necessarily chasing grants, but chasing services, in a lot of ways, we rely heavily on the either secondary data sources that we get from, whatever federal, state database, or, some soft surveys that we may implement for the community. But I think as an organization, we can be more intentional about, having more, not necessarily structured community forums, but just having the community really inform the implementation and development of some of the service initiatives that we build. I think that's really important, and we as an organization, I think, have some work to do in that regard. But then I also have, especially working with private donors or corporate donors, I think it's imperative for them to come to these communities and take part in some of these learning sessions, so that they are not just a transactional funding arm, but they are a part of the transformation that we're trying to have as a community, as well as just in the systems in which all of us operate in.
Wonderful. I can tell you this is going to be an amazing. This is going to be an amazing panel. It'll be showing virtually on July 8th at 5 p.m. We'd coming out of that discussion, we'd also like to know if you had some extra support, would you start your own business? Would that be something that you'd be interested in? And if you answered yes, what type of support would you need? Would you like? You know the deal by now. Go to the QR code and then put in, go into the QR code, check the link, look at it, and then give us some comments. What would you need to start your own business? What types of support would you need? What types of support would you like? So click that QR code and put your comments and everything in there, and we will continue to try and support you and see what things that this particular panel can begin to the information, what type of information they can give you so you can start your own business. The other thing is that Black Futures Fund will also be creating forums for people to begin to talk about these things and work through these things. So what type of support would you need in order to start your own business? Most 6 people said yes. Yeah, if you had 7, if you could just dream. This is the beauty of the Black Futures Fund. The Black Futures Fund is asking you and giving you space to begin to dream. What are the things from this community? If you could start your own business, what types of supports would you need in order to start your own business? We have 12 people. Yeah, most people are saying, 2 people say no, but most people in the Black community are saying, I would like more support to start my own business, whatever that business is. The lifeblood of Tulsa was people. The dollar would turn over like 15, 20, 25 times in Tulsa and in other Black communities. And that's because we had our own businesses, we had income, and we were doing things with each other. This is the type of thing that the Black Future Fund, the Black Future Co-op Fund is trying to get us to dream about. How would we begin to do something like that? So it's not just your own business. These are businesses that you can begin to build community with. So thank you for that. And let's keep dreaming. And then the next piece is, if you answered yes, what types of supports would you want? Access to, ooh, this is nice. Access to a legal team, professional insurance from Black-owned companies. Absolutely. Depending on what the business is, having legal representation is important. We need community partnerships. That absolutely, Tracy. So it's not enough just to have your own business, but how do you have a business with other people and other entrepreneurs so you can share knowledge, so you can share information, so you can share with each other what the pitfalls might be. So it is not enough just to have money to start business. People think, oh, to start a business, all I need is money. No, you need supports too. A lot of businesses that start have a lot of supports. Access to legal services, easier access to capital, mentorship, logistics and technical assistance, grant writing and management. These are all very important. In the Black Future Co-op Fund will be a place that can begin to cultivate these pieces for people and allow people to begin to develop these pieces of stuff. Compliance, what does that look like? How do you make sure you, like, if you start a business, how do you know that you're in compliance with that business so it doesn't get taken from you? And so these are all important things. And this panel will be a place where you can begin to ask these questions. This panel will be a place where you can begin to get more information about some of these particular pieces, as well as the Black Future Co-op Fund. Thank you so much. We've heard clips from now 3 out of the 5 panels. And before we hear from Aaron Bryant, Thomas, Christopher Anderson, and Sean Good on public safety, I'd like to introduce Avian Creatrix and Rodriguez Brown, all the way from Topinish, Washington, Avion instills inclusivity and accessibility by creating multidisciplinary art. With their art, Avion tells stories about being multiracial, exploring queerness, working through mental illness, and navigating drug addiction and homelessness. Through ongoing community-oriented youth projects, they inspire to educate the masses on self-awareness through the benefits of art alternatives and dealing with everyday stressors. Let's give a big round of applause and let's welcome Aviana Creatrix.
Hair curls which battle and intertwine, knowledge beyond my years and intuition to keep my third eye wide. Eyes filled with wants and hopes my ancestors dreamed of me. I wonder if I'm the only one in this windy bloodline to which my anxiety inflicts my mind from time to time. I wonder if stress could be found in bitten fingernails and threads of hair pulled in piles and papers torn to shreds. Skin brown from the minute I emerged, were you dismissed for being too far sun-kissed? For generations you stood up so that I could sit, drink, and marry whom I choose. For generations you listened to the voices in your head and tried to make sense of what was being said. For generations you've reached out. You've screamed and cried and dreamed of me. For generations, you've been waiting patiently for someone to say the words that I say. Here and now with these friends as witness, I welcome my ancestors to guide me, to warn me, to help me, to use me, to be in, around, and through me. I welcome you and the Great Spirit to express our message to the world in every avenue possible. Together, we are great. We are knowledge. Together, we are great. We are healing. Together, we are great. We are powerful. Together, we are great. We are magic. Together, we are great. We will conquer all.
Okay. Greetings, everybody. My name is Erin Bryant Thomas. I'm a wife and a mother of 3 boys. I'm an anti-racist community organizer. I organize with the Village of Hope, People's Institute, Black Star Line, and I work with King County Regional Homelessness Authority as their Director of Equity and Justice. It's good to be here.
Hello, my name is Chris Anderson. I'm co-founder of Think Ideas, Artists and Activism, and we specialize in amplifying the voices of residents in Snohomish County that are underrepresented, and we do it through mixed media arts and music.
And my name is Sean Good. I'm married to the most amazing woman in the world. I have 2 incredible children, a 20-year-old son who's a sophomore at Central Washington University, and a 14-year-old daughter who's a freshman. I steward Choose 180 as our executive director, where we work to transform systems that cause harm and support the young people who have been impacted by them. And I'm grateful to be sharing space with the both of you today.
Awesome.
You know, when we consider the report and the community identified approaches, the 2 that really resonate for me are, one, focusing on the people and not the systems, and addressing the root causes instead of the symptoms, right? And I think for me in particular, those 2 stand out because I'm regularly talking about how systems are amoral. And that's complicated for some folks, you know, because we say systems are evil, right? There's like these systems are created to cause harm, but it's my conviction that it's the variables within the systems that dictate the outcomes. And if we change the variables, then we change the outcome.
Yeah.
And even if we have fixed variables, if one of the actors begins to respond differently, then we can still get to different outcomes. And so we have to focus on the people within the systems to dictate the outcomes. Because even if we envision a world with a different system, if we end up with the wrong actors in those places, we'll get outcomes that cause harm. It'll just be harm that'll look different.
Yeah, one of the things that came out of the report that I wanted to lift up is that ensuring that education systems are preparing our young people for the world that they live in. And so exactly the example that you gave, just around, how they show up when they encounter adverse experiences, but not only adverse experiences, really educating our young people around who they are, where they came from, helping them develop a strong sense of self and their identity, and really, allowing our young people to really practice different ways of I think about conflict, right? So dealing with conflict, and making sure our young people are equipped with the skill set that they need to navigate.
On the issue of the report and when it's introduced and the information from it and when it's presented, what do you think like not our counterparts, but people who would deny this information, what would you think their stance would be at this point?
That's a really good question, Chris. I wonder, when I think about audience, right? I think the first people who really need to dive into the report is us.
Our community?
Yeah. Because I think we have a lot of trauma that we're struggling to heal from, that keep us from having not even a consensus, right, where we stand as a monolith. I don't mean it like that, because white dominant culture regularly wants to position us as a monolith, but where we have agreements, where we can conceptualize that here is the language that we use together moving forward, even if that language produces a diversity of perspectives and action items and agendas. And here's some agreeable language that we can move forward on. And I think that language is reflected in the report. And I think it's for us first.
That's right.
Chris, even as we talk about this report and we talk about public safety, I'm really curious about some of the ways that you use art to create safe communities. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, our organization, a branch of it, Artists in Activism, wanted to create musical and visual displays of protest and untraditional forms of protesting. And so we use music as a vehicle because we felt music could break down the barrier of distrust, or and kind of open up the bridge for communication. And once we created that bridge through art, we can then introduce other avenues of understanding and open-mindedness for people to even consider. In some aspects, it's like, I'm conflicted a little with having to go as far as to use an art form just to express myself, to come across as an individual to someone. But it's also art, and it's expressive.
Yeah, thank you for that. Raising three beautiful Black, brilliant boys, I dream a lot about just having fun, very simple fun. I dream about them just playing outside, freely, running up and down the street. I dream about ease of travel. I dream about how we engage with our young people, how we can better engage with young people. I dream about, I mentioned before, becoming really skillful in parenting, my parenting ways, but also becoming really skillful and teaching my children the skill set around resolving issues. You can imagine having three boys, three different personalities, You know, so really teaching them to how to work things out, you know. I dream about, you know, disrupting fear-based parenting. I think, you know, that is, you know, the root to a lot of the trauma, you know, our babies have experienced, and just as a parent, you know, that is something that I dream about. I read a lot of books. I'm in several different spaces where I can start to heal from, you know, things that I've learned and internalized, and really practice a different way of being. And so really undoing what's been done is what I dream about.
I hold the dream of healing from that trauma.
I can tell you that this panel is going to be amazing. It'll be showing virtually on June 17th at 5 p.m. The one thing that stood out for me is undoing what's been done. And one of the things that I always think about when I think about the undoing of the feralness and the brutality that has happened to Black bodies is that that undoing is not just a personal undoing. It is also an historical undoing. It is an intergenerational undoing. It is a persistent institutional undoing. And that's why we have to have this discussion around public safety, because the undoing sometimes can feel like that in and of itself will take us over, will take us out. And so I really want to encourage you to tune in on June 17th at 5 p.m. to that. Right now, we want to also know, coming out of that discussion, what does safety look like? What does public safety look like for you? In one word, what does it look like for you? How would you know that something that you had responsive public safety? So somebody just wrote that we do have a lot of trauma, and in the report, the language, some of the language in the report covers some of that. But we want to know more. Like what in a word is a what would public safety look like from you? Not public safety how it looks, you know, to the government, how it looks to the mayor, not how it looks to the police chief. What does public safety look like to you as a people? How do you begin to work with that and dream with that so you can begin to chart your own course for public safety? You know, one of the things that one of the panelists said is that public safety for her looked like freedom and ease of travel, a resolution of being able to resolve issues amongst each other, having fear-based parenting, more inclusion, being included in the idea of public safety and what that means, as opposed to public safety only meaning police or policing. What does public safety in a word look like to you? Safe streets, freedom, safe spaces, validation, trust, love, safe parks, having equity. These are some of the words that are coming. Joy spaces are beautiful, like having space where you can have belly laughs and butterfly kisses, a fearlessness, joy, more joy spaces, hugs, laughter, freedom, diversity, validation, less anxiety. This is a beautiful word, and I don't think we explore this enough. The idea that public safety looks like a sense of softness. And I think in this society, we get confronted so much with the hardness of life that we don't cultivate enough the ideas and the places where we can sense into and be cared for and have softness. And so another word is a curiosity. Having more curiosity is part of public safety. And if you notice, as you're hearing these words, as you're seeing these words, one of the things that you're noticing is that the idea of public safety is just not the police. It is not just policing. It is much more. And our people know this. This is why this report is so important, because the people have the answers, and we have to actually breathe this into existence. So thank you so much. Tune in on June 17th at 5 p.m. for virtually, and you can get more. You can ask more questions, and we can begin to build this idea of public safety and what we need. Lastly, but certainly not least, we want to hear from Diane Ferguson, Jordanos Teferi, Tisha Marie, and Jordan Jeffries on civic engagement.
Hello, welcome to the Central Area Senior Center. I'm Diane Ferguson, the Executive Director here. I like to tell people I'm a native of Washington State, come from a military family. I grew up in Europe, but came back to Tacoma when I was in 6th grade, and I've lived here ever since.
Hello, my name is Tisha Marie. I use she, her, and queen pronouns. I like to address people as king, queen, and royalty, to say that I see you beyond the limitations that society has placed on you. Our history did not start in shackles, but on thrones, leading nations, leading villages, and pioneering in arithmetic, science, and astrology. So I see you beyond the society limitations. So that is me. I'm also the founder of Legally Black, which is a nonprofit organization here in Tacoma, Washington.
Hello, my name is Jordanos Teferi. I'm Eritrean American, and I'm also the executive director of an organization called Multicultural Community Coalition, and I'm very excited to be here.
My name is Jordan Jeffries, he, him pronouns. I am the co-founder and co-director of Think Ideas and Artisan Activism and a bunch of other things that I won't mention right now. But yeah, we're a Snohomish County organization representing the interests of the Black community. There aren't many of us, but we believe that that is a reason why we need as much representation as possible. I'm glad to be here. So the community identified approach that was the most attractive to me was civics outside of the political system. I think that the political system is open source. I think it's something that you can learn, that can be studied. It's a system. It's identifiable. There are people who have entered it. There are people who have flourished, and I think that our community specifically, I think that if we can consolidate what our beliefs are, if we can get to a point where we are agreeing on a larger scale about the things that we want to bring into this political system, then we gain the power that we need to actually make change. I think having representatives that are lone in some cases, percentage-wise, that don't actually have the support of the community and actually have the excitement of the community behind their initiatives.
So that's really interesting, because I was thinking about what you said, and I know that I've been involved in government as an advocate in the nonprofit sector for most of my life, and working in coalition with lots of different groups. And I think when I came to the Senior Center in 2014, what I realized was that for many years, I see Black people, African American people taking the lead in helping other groups to move forward, and that when we want them as allies, they haven't always been there. So one of the things that became really important to me in the advocacy of trying to own the property that this building and the Senior Center has been in since 1968 was to no longer associate ourselves as primarily being with people of color, but to specifically call out, we are working on behalf of the efforts of Black people, African American people, people from the Africa diasporas.
And so what does it mean to actually have community voice at those tables and being able to put forth the community-driven solutions that we want to see, because we are the experts. And so that's really what I've seen with this pandemic and other other challenges that we've had. If we're not at the table, they're deciding for us.
Right.
They're trying to determine what's best for us when they should be just accustomed to listening to us and saying, this is what the community is demanding, this is what community is asking for, these are the solutions. Let's now craft the policies and practices that reflect those. And so that's what I think of a lot, because I've seen where being at those tables, it makes an impact. I know the system is slow to shift, but that's why I feel like the more that we can be there, even if it's just a couple of us for now, it's just vitally important.
Yeah, I think it's important to excuse me, to include that when making space, like you mentioned. Introduce yourself. Who are you? I think when we realize who we're talking to, it'll dictate how the conversation goes, because kind of what you mentioned also, how are they showing up for us? What are they doing? How are they moving? What are their business practices? So when we ask to be at the table, who are we at the table with? How well do we know them? Are we prepared for that? And then for the younger generation too, to recognize that these changes do not happen immediately. We live in a society where everything is instant gratification at your fingertips. And I love that you brought that perspective, because I don't think we focus so much on the more seasoned generations of people who have experienced this in the past already. We have the younger generation who wants it right away, and we have a generation that has seen too much time pass and not enough effective change take place. And so where do we bridge that gap of the different generations? Part of that, I think, has to happen when we willingly pass the torch to the next generation, and that generation has to receive that torch with acknowledgement of what has already been done. I think oftentimes there's a disconnect where everyone wants to do it themselves and we aren't moving collectively.
All of you said so much I agree with. I think, and let me insert a little optimism here.
Yeah.
I think,
Please.
yeah, I think that the younger generation and the older generation actually have everything in common when it comes to the movement. It's all about how information is processed. It's all about how they approach it. Where relationship building face to face and getting people's information from them is a huge priority to the older generations. The younger generations have now the ability, because of the connectivity we have and the accessibility to each other we have, to do research ahead of time.
Right.
And then the luxury of seeing if people are walking their talk, you know?
Yeah.
So it's all there.
Is it all right if I piggyback on this? Or were you prepared? So I dream of, and you actually spoke to it, to know how to dream is something that not everybody has the luxury to possess, or the freedom to be able to, the space to be able to cultivate those dreams into reality. I dream of restructured systems that are rooted in empowering and protecting people, as opposed to sustaining certain demographics of people based on race and socioeconomic class. That is something kind of, and what you mentioned kind of relates a little bit to my own. Sitting there watching the TV screen, listening to the Secretary of State. Here I am a few years after you, and just
You're being kind. Picking up on what you said, the way I've been thinking about like the dream, the civic engagement dream is just, you've kind of said it, what does it look like when it actually works? And you were talking about that, like the power of the individual and the fact that you shouldn't be shy to step into, just reach out to your elected representative or just to get involved. And so what does it look like if we have representatives that cannot be held accountable or are not doing what they said they would be willing to do, and to actually vote them out? And that takes everyone engaged in the process of civic engagement to actually vote, to actually, just collectivism, as you were saying as well, like to show up en masse and to do that. And I think part of, it doesn't, obviously the system doesn't work that way, because we have all of these representatives and policymakers who are not serving us well with what you were saying.
And we are the most educated generation of people that have ever existed on this earth, and yet we still hold true to the values of people who had barely an education and took over a country that was already ran and already had a government system and people and places that worked. The system you mentioned, Adonis, that we don't want people to look at the system as being broken, and you mentioned how people will look at maybe their vote doesn't matter. I don't think the system is broken. I think it is operating exactly as it was intended to operate, to continue to sustain and oppress a certain demographic of people, Black and brown people, specifically Black people, and it just so happens that anyone else who's not visibly identifiable as white is also impacted by that system, but it was designed to oppress Black people.
And one of the things that we have to do is we have to acknowledge that we have resources and that our resources can benefit our own people and our own communities. And sometimes what it takes is that we go and meet one-on-one with those individuals in our communities, you know, the lawyers, the doctors, the marketing people, and all of that have resources that don't translate into contributing to organizations and activities that benefit Black people. And so
Wow, man, that was powerful. Again, don't forget to pre-drop your questions in for this panel in the chat. You can engage virtually with this panel on June 20th at 5 o'clock. At 5 p.m. One of the things that, like, all of these panels have been so wonderful, and I think you will find them wonderful live once you go and tune in. But two pieces that stood out for me with this particular panel, and that is the idea of civic engagement must reflect our own self-interest. As Black people, civic engagement must reflect what our self-interest. It's all right for us to say this is what we believe. Other people can believe or think or want whatever it is that they want. But for us in the diaspora of Black people in our communities, our community is not binary. But we can come together and develop what it is. What do we believe is our shared self-interest? And then the other piece that I was thinking when I was watching this was the piece around a perpetual infrastructure, a database, a way to have things, have people and data that's present for us, that's perpetual, not just to vote, not just when politicians feel like they want to come and talk to us and sell us a bill of goods, but data that we can begin to use and call and work with and make people live up to their words as it relates to our own self-interest. I think you will find this panel fascinating, and I think you'll get a lot of it. And once again, the panel will be on June 20th at 5 p.m. Good. Thank you. Want to also want to say that you know, I need to say this. This event for me has been so wonderful to see how you can start one place and begin to build infrastructure. These are the beginning pieces. This report are the beginning pieces to build infrastructure. This was phenomenal for me. I know a lot of times I get asked to do this stuff a lot, and a lot of times it's not Black bodies are not centered in this. And for the Black Future Co-op Fund to be centering our Black future is so important. And I can't tell you how much this fills me up. I know the panelists are excited to be with you next month. I want to introduce, at this point, I want to introduce Real Be Free. Real Be Free is a musician. As an organizer, versatile, creative from South End of Seattle, the So What rapper, mixes energetic lyricism without a box of spacey and out of the box spacey productions. True to form, RFB makes music that ranges from honest, soulful, experimental, and hard hitting. Check out his most recent project So What, Phase 3 on streaming platforms. And you can also check out his video on KEXP. Following Rel's performance, we were going to hear from a word from our speaker, our author, and fellow community member, Richard Taylor. Richard was born in Chicago and currently lives in Seattle. Inspires the masses to tap into their own inner potential and create change that they want to see. After Richard will transition back to the Architects for a few words of reflection. While you're listening, drop a word in the comment section about what's resonating for you and how what's resonating for you. Thank you. Now, Rel Be Free.
Hide in plain sight, the light is right in front of me. Look for what's coming for me, it's self-discovery. I ain't gon' lie, cause I have been struggling. I've been on my Kobe Calais, tummy bubbly. How you supposed to come to your own when you afraid? Fought to pay the cost, you don't even wanna change. Turn the page, from being ashamed, living in shade. How you overcame the pain and you'll never be the same.
You don't wanna change, but you wanna switch lanes. Step out of the rain, yeah, you did it your way. Now it's time to be yourself, go at a new pace. Slow it down, this ain't a race.
Yeah, I know that I'll be trifling, spiteful, hella petty. If my people trying to fight, I'm down and ready, please forgive me. I know that I be coming up short. She was trying to have a baby, I was trying to pour sport when I lose. Got used and abused, been going for the green, still working for the blues. Between me and you, if I really had to choose, wouldn't be up in the pews, too cool for the school.
I don't know where I'm going, but I'm trying to find the light. I know what's wrong with the world, but I'm trying to do right. In spite of all the things in my life, I'll keep moving forward. I'ma be alright.
I ain't in the mood today. Yeah, I really wanna move, but I choose to stay. Need a room of space, cause the room is fake. Pay the cost, I'm the boss like Swoon and Sway. Okay, I ain't really in the mood today. Yeah, I really wanna move, but I choose to stay. Need a room of space, cause the room is fake. Pay the cost, I'm the boss like Swoon and Sway. Ay. Trying to find the light.
Trying to find the light. Yeah,
but I'm trying to do right.
Trying to do right. Yeah,
my life. Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go, G. KEXP. Yeah, KEXP. A little duet. Ha, yeah. Yeah. We're gonna bring that hook back one more time. Give it to him. Let's go.
I don't know where I'm going, but I'm trying to find the light. I know what's wrong with the world, but I'm trying to do right. In spite of all the things in my life, I'll keep moving forward. I'ma be alright. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Black Future Co-op Fund family, this is Richard Taylor Jr., author, speaker, mental health advocate, podcaster, and a host of other things that don't really matter right now. But listen, I am so excited to be here with you all today as we have this conversation around the state of Black well-being, right? And so I want to leave you with three quick things. But before I do that, why am I here? Why am I in this space? Why am I a mental health advocate? I grew up from the age of 10 to 20 dealing with anxiety, depression, and suicide attempts that started from being bullied as a kid, right? And so with that, it led to a host of issues. I gained 170 pounds in the span of 18 months, which led to bad physical health, which then led to me getting into a relationship where I became the victim of domestic abuse. And with all of the trauma and all of the letdown, the expectations that weren't met, it put me in a position to where I just felt like life wasn't worth it. On Dr. King Day of 2008, which was January 21st that year, I took a blade down my wrist 5 times and tried to end it all. Luckily for me, I missed the top vessel, one of the main vessels at the top of my wrist. And in that, I had a very long journey from a very dark hole to come out of. But 14 years later, I've been able to do that. And I truly do believe that life is worth living. 3 things I want to just give you all as we have this conversation of the state of well-being today that hopefully you can take for yourself. The first is this, and this comes from my latest book, 31 Days of Power. We all have a mental health, right? The same way that we all have a physical health, we've got a mental that we need to be able to invest into and take care of. Please take time to be proactive rather than reactive with your mental health. The second piece that I want to give you all is that I think it's important for us to make sure that we're embracing the power of community, right? Community is so important for our mental and emotional health. Be intentional with the people that you're around, right? Being intentional means letting your needs be known, talking about what it is that you have going on, right? The second thing within community that I want to make sure that we're doing is being honest. We cannot heal on half truths. So when we talk about the state of our well-being, we can't be around our people only giving half truths to where we are. You You are not weak for admitting that you need help or that you are in a deep struggle. My third and final piece that I want to give you all is this. It comes from an earlier book that I wrote, but this idea around hope, right? There is hope. I know that what we've experienced can cause us to feel like hope doesn't exist. I just want to let you know that hope does. But here's my thought. What if we need to reframe our idea on hope? What if we need to reframe our perspective on hope? What if hope is not this one big grand off at one time, right? But what if hope is small baby steps done right consistently over an extended period of time? Whether you know it or not, you are an embodiment of hope. And then finally, I saw this in one of our earlier panels, and I just want to throw this in here real quick. Let's make sure that even when the seat at the table isn't there, please do not take away from the power and the capability that you have to create tables that will create change and healing and transformation for the communities around us. Family, with that being said, I want to leave you with this quote. You are not losing in life. You are not failing. You are simply between the dream. What is between the dream? It's the point between our present moment and our promise. I like to call that area in the middle the process. Between the dream is the process. I'm a firm believer that when we embrace our process, we embrace our progress. And when we embrace our progress, we can walk into every promise, purpose, and plan meant for our life. Thank you all once again. I love you. You're not losing in life. You're not failing. You're simply between the dream.
Wow. Let's let that sink in for a little bit. Thank you, Richard. Wow. Today was awe-inspiring. Oftentimes we're pulled into other people's shapes of us. And I feel like today we got to be in our shape as a people, to understand our stories, to shape our narratives. Today we were exploring the terrains our ancestors couldn't, and we're setting the stage to fight for and live into that justice that our ancestors fought for. As Resmaa says, we are not defective. Something was done to us. Something happened to us. But the intention we're setting today creates this kind of threshold that we're all walking through together to know ourselves, to heal ourselves, to build power, share power, and support one another in this work, to build that resilience that will power our communities. Thank you for gathering with us today. It has been soul-filling for me. Thank you.
I like you, Andrew, am so inspired. I've been off camera for most of this, so y'all can't see the tears as we're seeing comments, as we're thinking about where we all logged in from today. Like, we are here in Washington and we are everywhere. And so I'm encouraged about us beginning to connect our dots. We have done work in silos for so long because I think we have felt we've had to, and we really don't have to. That's something somebody else told us and we grabbed onto it. And so how do we build our web of excellence and connect the dots, that excellence to that joy that we tend to bring into any situation? And so I am encouraged, and I'm encouraged by the way Resmaa opened and mentioned, build while we resist. I joined in from home because sometimes we need to rest and sometimes we need to jump in. And the good news is we're such a strong people. We all won't be in that same space at the same time. And so just so many shout outs to the architects who are able to be there in person. This is how we work together, honoring what each other needs.
That's right. We got you, girl. We got you. For me, this is the co-op. This is what this organization, this fund was developed for, to bring us all together, to share our brilliance, our ideas, and to build and collaborate together. So this is the work. And this is where it starts. It definitely doesn't end here. I hope that we continue to build on our excellence and build this beloved community across this great state and beyond. And I'm just, first, point of privilege, I'm so grateful to Candace Jackson for coordinating this for us, and the Elite Collective team for keeping us on point always, and Sharon Nyray Williams for the art and beauty that was brought into this space. This is a collective. The four of us may have started this, but we just started it, and it builds and it continues beyond us, beyond this space, and hopefully together we'll change a generation, which will lead forward to changing how we see us, how our children live, and that it's not a dream to be able to be free and be outside and play and have joy, that it's a reality and that it's a norm for us. And so this is the beginning of that space, and I'm so grateful.
Thank you, Michelle. I today leave here extremely grateful. I have a page and a half of notes that will allow me to remain inspired. A couple of quotes that I want to restate as my own reflections. One being, "My soul has grown deep like the rivers." And I leave here today thinking more about the story of self, the story of us, the story of now, and even more prepared to lean into the power of the Black narrative that we must tell. I thank you all so much for joining us today. This was a beautiful, beautiful gathering. There is so much more work to be done, and we want to continue to work with you, partner with you, to hear from you. Please ensure that you complete the survey that's in the comments. Let us know which community identified approaches resonate with you most. Please also check out our website, our socials, and the comments for the dates so that you can hear each of the panels and engage with all of the panelists. And while so much of the conversation today has been about healing, we want to ensure that we close on that same note. So I turn it back over to Resmaa to close us out in a way of healing. Thank you.
Thank you, sibling. I appreciate you. So here's what I want to do. This idea that we are not defective. One of the reasons when I do my workshops, when I'm working with people in my office, especially Black bodies, Indigenous bodies, bodies of culture. I don't say people of color, I say bodies of culture, because what was stripped from us, what tried to be stripped from us was our humanity. And so that's why I say bodies of culture. They try to take that away, take our humanity away. And so I say bodies of culture as opposed to be people of color. And so when I'm talking about healing and how we begin to heal, one of the things that I talk about is this idea of toys. So often what happens when we're talking about practices or teaching somebody an exercise, we think about it as a one-off. We don't think about it as, if I was going to be a world-class pianist, I would have to practice. If I was going to be a weightlifter, I would have to practice. If I was going to be a NBA basketball player, I would have to practice. That I would have to spend time in the dark where nobody's watching me, not on stage, because in that time I learned the difference between playing notes and making music. I learned the difference between nuance and gross movements. And so part of what I want to show y'all today is this piece that you all can do anytime. And it's toys as opposed to learning tools. It's toys because toys intimate the idea of playing, of leaning into something, of curiosity. So one of the first toys I want to introduce you to is the toy of grounding. And the reason why I say grounding is that one of the things that happened through the brutalization of our peoples historically, intergenerationally, persisted institutionally, and then in our own personal lived experience, one of the things that happens is that we begin to have this sense that we are untethered, or this sense that we're not quite moored or grounded. And so one of the first things I want you to do, and what I want you to do is think about this as nibbles, not gorging. So just little nibbles on things. If you can just notice it for half a second, that's more than enough time. If you can notice for half a second, a couple times a day, that's more than enough time. You don't have to become an expert at this. It's practice. So grounding is just right now noticing your tailbone sitting on something, noticing your butt on something. even if it's for half a second, just notice that. Noticing your back on something. Noticing your arms on something. The noticing of that allows you to be in the present, even if it's for half a second, because we've been traumatized, because people, many of us come from people who were raped for 250 years legally in this country. Our sense of ungroundedness and unmooredness is present. So what we have to do is just touch into it and then back out, nibble on it and back out. So the sense of grounding, notice your feet inside your shoes. Notice how your shoes fit your feet. Those are all little things that you can begin to do throughout the day. Just touch on it, practice, get a rep in, touch on it, get a rep in, touch on it, and then move out. The thing about trauma and the trauma of our people, one of the things that happens is that when you go to try things that are new, the protective energy also comes in too, and it can overwhelm you. This is why I say nibble on it as opposed to going into it like as if that 400 years of trauma energy is not present, right? That's the first skill, or the first toy. Second toy is orientation, right? One of the things that happened to our peoples is that our peoples became disoriented through the brutality and the feralness of this country. And so one thing, when I'm working with bodies in my practice, one of the things that I do all the time, one of the first pieces I show people is this piece around, just right now, as you're listening to me, I want you right now just to find the windows, the doors, and the exits in the area you're in right now. And if it's and also make sure you look behind you. Many of us Black bodies have this sense that a shoe is going to drop, that something bad is about to happen, that somebody's going to do something with us. That's the historical energy that has never been resolved or never been taken care of in our people. And what we want to do is help our bodies recognize what safety is, even if it's for a little second. So turning around and looking for windows and doors and exits is important, because many of us come from our people who could not leave. We couldn't leave. And then we come from those nervous systems that had to organize around the overwhelm of the trauma that happened to our people. So just orienting to the space. When you wake up in the morning, you get ready to get up out of bed, just lay there for a second. You will notice the urgency showing up. But if you lay there for over time after time after time, you'll notice something else start to emerge. So the second toy is orienting with your ears, hearing what's in back of you, hearing what's inside of you, hearing what's in front of you, just in little chunks. The next one is touch. Sometimes we touch to try and put something in or take something out. The touch is just to touch or hover parts of the body that need support. Some of us carry the bracing of dealing with white body supremacy in this structure, carrying the bracing in our neck and shoulders, right? Sometimes what you can do is just touch into that and hold it, not to put something in or not to take something out. It's just to hold it. So your body begins to, over time, understand what support feels like or how to experience support. Some of us carry it in our chest a lot or in our bellies. You don't even have to touch it. You can actually just hover over it. You're not putting anything in. You're just letting your body over time be conditioned around what support feels like or how you experience support. But it takes time. At the beginning, your body's not going to be able to recognize it. And then the last piece is so first we said grounding, orientation, touch, and then movement. And I want to talk about a particular movement here. And the particular movement that I want us to start to begin to play with is the movement of the hips and moving the hips in slow ways. Why? Because the hips is contained in the hip is a muscle called the psoas muscle. The psoas muscle connects the top part of the body and the lower part of the body and is responsible for mobilization or immobilization in dangerous situations, right? When you come from a people that have been, if you leave, you're in danger. If you stay, you're in danger, right? There is a locking that can happen in your hips. And so what I want you guys to do right now is just begin to start to play with that over time, and then over time see what emerges. So these are the 4 cultural somatic toys that I work with people on all the time. I hope these can be helpful to you, not just for today, but over the course of your life, as stressful as things start to show up, or even before things start to show up, begin to play with these toys. I just want to say this was incredible for me to spend this time with you. If you're registered, we're about to start a party with DJ Coon Love, and you should have received the link. We want to offer love and gratitude to everyone that's been a part of this gathering. Check out, make sure you check out the Black Futures Co-op Fund website. And then check out the list of organizations that actually made this possible. This concludes our time together, and we're going to end this with a beautiful performance by Northwest Tap. We love you. Thank you so much for being here with us today, and Black love, y'all.
Back to the south, I'm going back, where my roots ain't watered down. Growing like a baobab tree, all life on fertile ground. My ancestors put me on game, long time on gold chains, with my old shoe energy.